Thanks for tuning back into the channel. Today we're going to be going over the Commander Precons for the Final Fantasy set. They were announced not too long ago, and this is my first chance having an ability to read through them. So I figured I'll do a little bit of a first impression type thing, a card by card rundown of what's in the decks as well. This way you guys can see what's in there. I'll also leave a link in the description because it's on Magic's website in terms of how you could view these deck lists yourself. So let's get into them. We're going in the order that they have them here on the website, starting with Terra, Herald of Hope. Her abilities at the beginning of combat on your turn, mill 2 cards. She gains flying, so that's pretty good. You know, get a little bit of mill, get stuff into your graveyard. When she deals combat damage to a player, you may pay 2 mana, generic. When you do, return target creature with power draw your last from your graveyard to your battlefield tapped. So she's the initial commander. You want a bunch of weak creatures in your graveyard in order to bring them back. I'm assuming there's going to be a whole bunch of cards in here that will synergize with that, or a bunch of weak creatures in here that'll be good to have with ETB abilities. And redrew the cards yet, of course, but I'm assuming like maybe like a Panharmonicon, some like, what's that name? Helpful Hunter from the like dogs and cats ones. That should be fun, right? And then for the backup commander, we have Celis, Rune Knight. When Celis enters, discard any number of cards and draw that many cards +1. So a little bit of a wheel effect there. Maybe we'll have other discard synergies in this deck as well. Whenever one or more creatures you control enters, if one of them entered from a graveyard or was cast from a graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature we control. Okay, so that helps us power up our 2 or less power creatures as well, which could be really helpful there. And also, I guess, discarding our hand will also help us get other stuff into the graveyard. That'll help us revive, and synergize with Terra a little bit there. So we'll go through creatures and up and down this side, and then we'll go up and down the right side. So let's start with Cyan, Vengeful Samurai. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each creature in your graveyard. Okay, so a bunch of creatures in your graveyard, basically asking for 1 at a certain point. Double Strike, whenever 1 or more creatures leave your graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on Cyan. Alright, so it works well with Terra's ability, getting it back out of the graveyard, and Celis' ability, 1, to get stuff out of the graveyard, getting 2 +1/+1 counters if these synergize well. Alright, that could be pretty fun. General Leo Christoph. When General Leo enters, return up to 1 target creature with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. From your graveyard, then put a +1/+1 counter on General Leo for each creature you control. Alright, so more +1/+1 counter synergies. Looks like he's 2 power, so he works with Terra's ability. Power 3 or less, so Cyan also works with that. That's pretty cool. Interceptor, Shadow's Hound, a 4 power creature this time, so doesn't work with that ability. Assassins you control have mana, so is she an assassin? Human Wizard Warrior, is she? Human Wizard Knight. Okay, so that's not that important. Whenever you attack with 1 or more legendary creatures, you may pay 3 mana. If you do, return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped and attacking. Alright, so another thing to get something out of the graveyard, just, pretty easily. That's cool. Shadow, Mysterious Assassin, has the ability Draw and Death Touch. Whenever Shadow deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice another non-land permanent. Okay, if you do draw 2 cards, so a little bit of draw power there. Each opponent loses life equal to the mana value of the sacrificed permanent. Okay, a little bit of burn, a little bit of draw power. Does he have to deal the combat damage? He has to deal the damage. I guess people don't really want to block a Death Toucher. And he's also someone who can keep going back with Terra's ability. Okay, so not the best, but sounds fun. Siegfried, Famous Swordsman. Whenever Siegfried enters, mill 3 cards. Okay, there we go. Something else to get stuff into the graveyard. It's worried we didn't have much of that quite yet. Then put X +1/+1 counters on this creature, where X is twice the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Okay, so we haven't really had anything that says banish when it gets to the graveyard, if it's like the first or second time. So that could be pretty helpful there. Wonder if we have any of the persist cards to go infinite with Celis in this deck, like Putrid Goblin or something. Where were we? But yeah. Oh, and also 2 power to go with Terra there. That's cool. Gal Feral Youth, another +1/+1 counter ability. When Gal attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it. 2/2 power. 2/2 power toughness. At the beginning of each end step, if a card left your graveyard this turn, Gal deals damage equal to its power to each opponent. Okay, so he's dealing a little bit of 2 damage every time you use Terra's ability, because it looks like most of these things are 2 or 3. Okay, so that could be a little bit useful. At beginning combat on your turn, Go-Go Mysterious Mime. Beginning combat on your turn, you may have Go-Go become a copy of another target creature you control. So on the turn, accept its name as Go-Go Mysterious Mime. Okay, so it gets around the legendary ability by having a different name there. That creature gets +2/+0 and gains haste until end of turn. You can attack this turn if able. Gains haste until end of turn and attack this turn if able. Okay, so yeah, so we get another creature that basically gets haste. 2 of them, something that's useful, like, I don't know, maybe another General Leo, making him into a 4/4, especially because you keep getting this back with Terra's ability. Could be pretty useful. Sabin, Master Monk, double strike, discard a card for its Blitz ability along with 4 mana. Whenever you cast, you can cast this card from your graveyard, using its Blitz ability. Okay, so it synergizes well with Celis. Other than that, it's a creature that keeps on getting sacrificed for quite a bit of mana, and it does also help you get cards out of your hand that you want in your graveyard, I guess, but not too excited about that one. Strago and Realm, 3 mana, tap target opponent, exiles cards from the top of their library until they exile an instant or sorcery card. You may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Okay, so you have to cast specifically that instant, sorcery, or creature. If you cast a creature spell this way, it gains haste, and at the beginning of the end step, sacrifice this creature. Okay, so you're exiling, so you're not necessarily casting it from the graveyard or getting it back from the graveyard to go with Celis, but still, free cards off your opponent's deck. Summon Esper Valigmandra, I'm guessing. Exile an instant or sorcery card. Oh, it's also a creature saga. That's cool. Enters after you draw a step, add a lore counter, sacrifice it. Okay, so it does get sacrificed after 4 still. Exile an instant or sorcery card from each graveyard. Okay, so getting rid of our opponent's stuff they may want in the graveyard. And then add red mana for each lore counter. Oh, and then we could cast those instant sorceries. And we'll have the mana to deal with his ability. And it's only 3 power, so we keep getting it. And then, sacrifice it after the 4th. So it's not necessarily the exiled after 4, for some reason I was thinking. Okay, that one seems fun. Umaro, Raging Yeti. Beginning of combat on your turn, choose 1 at random. Other creatures you control get extra power and gain trample. Okay, I don't think we're necessarily needing too much trample in this deck. Well, I guess that will help us get Terra's ability off. Discard your hand, draw 4 cards. Okay, especially if we only have 1 card in our hand. And 5 damage to any target. Oh, 6 mana, doesn't have haste, and you have to... Oh, it's at the beginning of combat, so you don't even have to attack with this creature. That could be pretty useful. Bannon, the Returner's Leader. Once during each of your turns, you may cast a creature spell from among cards in your graveyard that were put there from anywhere other than the battlefield this turn. Okay, so if we mill a card, we get to cast it this turn. When you attack, you may pay 1 and discard a card if you do draw a card. Okay, or that card we discard. Okay, and it's whenever you attack, not whenever this creature attacks. Okay. Maybe. During your turn, this creature has indestructible. Kafka Dancing Man. At the beginning of your end step, exile a card at random from each opponent's graveyard. Okay. Especially because I play a lot online, that could be a little bit annoying. You may cast any number of spells from among cards exiled this way without paying their mana cost. Then each player who owns a spell cast this way loses life equal to its mana cost. That could be a fun commander on its own. That's pretty exciting. Like, mostly for paper, it's going to be good. But, also pretty fun for Arena at some point. Lock Treasure Hunter. Can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. Okay, so any with greater power. Whenever this creature attacks, each player mills a card. If a land was milled this way, create a treasure token. And, that's going to be whenever, like, a creature's milled, do blah. But nope. Until end of turn, you may cast a spell from among those cards. Okay, but we can cast the other ones. Okay, treasure tokens. Free draw power. Mog, Moogle Warrior. Ooh, that's a lot of text. Lifelink. At the beginning of your end step, each player may discard a card. Each player who discarded a card this way draws a card. Okay, so our opponents got their stuff out of hand along with us. If a creature card was discarded this way, you may create a 1/2 Moogle creature token with lifelink. Okay, little token. Okay. Then if a non-creature card was discarded this way, put a +1/+1 counter on each Moogle you control. Okay, there's a lot of +1/+1 counters in this deck. I was expecting that to be more in the Titus deck. But, I guess this works for this because it's such weak creatures. I just wasn't expecting it. I was expecting more of like a burn team with like such weak creatures. But I don't know. Some good cards so far. Setzer, Wandering Gambler. Whenever this creature enters, create a legendary 2/2 Dredgery vehicle with crew 2. Whenever a vehicle you control deals combat damage to a player, flip a coin. If you win the coin flip, create 2 tap treasure tokens. I mean, like, it doesn't really go well with the, what's it called? Commander's ability because it's going to be a legendary token. And I don't know, I feel like this would be better as its own commander. Focus if you had more of a vehicle deem, but this just seems like there was some reference in 6 that I didn't see that this guy's meant to fulfill. I didn't play 6, so I'm a little bit lost here. The Wandering Triad, Flying, Trample, Haste. As long as there are fewer than 8 cards in your graveyard, this creature isn't a creature. Okay. So middle card, target player adds 1 mana in any color. So it's almost, I don't know. It has haste. So, like, you don't want this till later, but it's such cheap mana cost. I mean, this is a 5/5 for Dree still. And Flying and Trample on top of that? That's a pretty good card, I'd say. Sun Titan. Sun Titan. Get a creature back from your graveyard. Permanent card with mana value Dree less from graveyard back to the battlefield. Always a good card. Always fun to see. Archfiend of Depravity. At the beginning of each opponent's end step, that player chooses up to 2 creatures they control. Sacrifice the rest. Oh, so some removal. It's 5 power. Okay, and that'll also help us get some stuff into our graveyard, which I guess we could keep getting back if we... No, wait. Each opponent's end step, so we can't get rid of our own stuff back to the graveyard if we want it in the graveyard. Sepulchral Primordial. Intimidate whenever this creature enters. Nope, 5 power, so can't use the ability. For each opponent, you may put up to 1 target creature from that player's graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. Okay. For each opponent, not each player, you may put up to 1 target creature card. Okay, so that could be pretty handy. Combustible Gear Hulk, draw power, burn power, 6 power. I don't know if it really fits in here, but it does get the mill potentially. No one ever lets you mill with this card. No one wants to take that damage. Flare to Hate Band, Undying. Oh. If this creature dies, it had no +1/+1 counters on it, returns to the battlefield under control with a +1/+1 counter in it. Okay, so it's a little bit of the opposite of Persist. Whenever this creature or another creature enters from your graveyard, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. Okay, so there we go. There's a bit of burn team, but once again, you can't really get it back with Terra's ability, but I guess if you're getting your other stuff back, they'll work out with each other. Especially if you have Terra and Celis on the board together. Those things enter with the +1/+1 counters. You get to decide how you want to stack those abilities. Whenever this creature dies, each player may discard their hand and draw 7. Oh, Wheel of Fortune there. 7 power, Mountain Cycling. Okay, you get to the graveyard easily if you need something more in your graveyard. And I don't really see that one coming in handy too often, especially for 6 mana. Priest of Alrights, Page Relive, sacrifice this creature. Return target creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery. Okay, so if we get this back with, I keep forgetting her name. Terra's ability. We could keep sacrificing and getting our bigger stuff back. So that comes in handy. I like that. Ooh, Solemn Simulacrum only has 2 power, so you keep getting it back, keep getting those lands, and keep having it get destroyed in order to draw cards. Angel of Runes for some removal and plane cycling. We just had this reprinted in a Precon. Palace Jailer. Creature enters, you become the monarch. Whenever this creature enters, exile target creature opponent controls until an opponent becomes the monarch. Okay, so we get to like remove something temporarily, very temporarily, because everyone wants to become the monarch because they want to draw cards, especially that guy who you just removed the stuff of. They want to get their stuff back. So, you know, at least it does stay around even if this creature dies, and keep bringing it back in terms of Terra's ability. Where were we? Morbid Opportunist. Whenever one or more creatures dies, draw a card. This ability only happens once per turn. Yep, good draw power. He has 1 power, so keep getting it back. Pitless Plunderer. Whenever another creature you control dies, create a treasure token. Alright, some mana fixing there. Stitcher Supplier for the mill power there. We didn't really have that many mill power out of the creatures so far. So that's a little bit hard to get a bunch of stuff into the graveyard, I feel. Anger, give all your creatures haste. Meteor Golem, destroy non-land permanents. A little bit of removal there. And Milliken for Millicard, add mana. Okay. I mean, no. I mean, I know that's an okay card, but like, not really great. We have Wayfarer's Bauble, get a basic land onto your battlefield. Good turn 1 play. Some mana fixing. Oh no, that's not mana fixing. That's so that Terror could attack the turn she comes out, and also a little bit of protection. Okay. We always like Swiftfoot Boots. Soul Ring, Limestone, Commander Sphere, Arcane Signet. Just the Commander staples. Phoenix down, exile this artifact, choose 1. Return target creature with mana value 4 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Okay, so that's mana value. Exile target skeleton, spirit, or zombie. Okay, maybe our opponents will have those in the other precons and they'll work out well together. But I'm guessing it's the other ability we're really going to use more so. Key to say discard a card up to 1 creature can't be blocked this turn. Okay, so I'll make sure Terra's ability can get through. Whenever this artifact becomes untapped, you may pay 2 if you do draw a card. Okay, so a little bit of draw power on top of that. Good to see. The Falcon Airship Restored. Whenever the Falcon deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it. When you do, return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Okay. It works out. It's 4 power, so we can't get it back, and it's also not a creature, so we can't get it back that way either. Well, we could get back with Sun Titan, so that's helpful there. But it has to deal combat damage, but it is flying. It's okay. And Coin of Fate. Whenever this artifact enters, surveil 1. Okay, we like surveil in this deck, especially getting stuff to the graveyard. Exile 2 creature cards from your graveyard. Sacrifice this artifact, and the opponent chooses one of the exiled cards. Exile 2 creature cards from your graveyard. Your opponent chooses one of them. You put that card on one of them onto the bottom of the library, the other onto the battlefield tapped, and you become the monarch. Okay, so I have 2 monarch synergy cards in here. Wonder if there'll be more in the instants and sorceries. Okay, let's go over to those. Espers of Magicite. Exile each opponent's graveyard. When you do, choose up to 1 creature card. Exile this way, create a token that's a copy of that card, except it's an artifact and loses all other card types. Wait, what? Create a token that's a copy of that card, except it's an artifact and loses all other card types, so it's not even a creature. Am I missing something? Maybe there's some other cards that have good activated abilities you want, and I guess if they have the tap ability, you wouldn't have to wait for Summoning Sickness anymore. Okay. I mean, it's more so for the graveyard removal in this deck. Bedevil, removal, Laughing Man, draw power. Big score, more draw power, some treasure tokens. Crackling Doom, deal 2 damage to each opponent. Each opponent sacrifices a creature with the greatest power among creatures they control. Okay. A little bit of removal, a little bit of burn damage. Mortify, destroy target creature or enchantment. Have we had no enchantments in this deck? Yeah, there's no enchantments in this deck, actually. Huh. Interesting. Rejoin the fight. Milled cards. Yeah, there's also not much mill power in the other cards so far. Starting with next opponent in turn order, each opponent chooses a creature card in your graveyard that hasn't been chosen. Return each card chosen this way to the battlefield under your control. Okay. So a whole bunch of creatures back from our graveyard. Real helpful. Snort, especially if we have like someone who chooses something that synergizes well with the other ones, that could come in handy. Sword, each player may discard their hand, draw 5 cards, 5 damage to each opponent who discarded their hand this way. Okay. Good draw power. I mean, it's like Morphing Jar in Yu-Gi-Oh! Almost, but we deal a bit of burn damage too. Tragic Arrogance. For each player, choose from among permanents that player controls an artifact, creature, enchantment, and planeswalker. Then player sacrifices the rest. Okay, bunch of removal, board wipe essentially. Reanimate to reanimate our creatures. Rise to the Dark Realms. That's a good card. I'm glad we're seeing this one again. Legions to Ashes. Board wipe. Draw power. And then return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Or put back into the battlefield if you have certain. Okay, so overall, it feels like we're missing something in this deck. It feels like we're missing a bunch of more mill power in this deck. Or like, I don't know, like I guess we have a bunch of ways to discard our hand, but it doesn't feel like, it feels like we're missing something in here. Like, it feels like we're missing some more like enter the battlefield abilities. Like, for Terra to get her second ability to be worth a little bit more. Or like, I don't know, we have a bunch of +1/+1 counter synergies in here, but I feel like there's some like +1/+1 counter cards missing. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's definitely ways to upgrade this deck, especially if you put in like the persist cards, because those will allow you to go infinite. Battlefield Forge, Lift Up Tree, Desolate Mire, Dragon Skull Summit. Okay, there's some okay lands in here, but these are just like the lands you tend to see in every precon. If you want to slow down, feel free to slow down the video, but I just tend to scroll through lands. Only 10, what's it called? Basic lands in the entire deck. There's also no new lands in this deck. Okay. Good to know. Well, let's get on to the next one. We'll probably also break these up into individual videos too. So we're at the 22-minute mark for the first one. Let me make sure I notate that. Alright. So next commander in this one is Cloud X Soldier. He has haste whenever Cloud enters, attach up to 1 target equipment you control to it. Okay, so it's an enter ability. If you have Panharmonicon or something, you could double that. I don't know why I keep thinking of Panharmonicon, probably just because I just ordered a copy of TCG Player. Whenever he attacks, for each opponent, whenever, let me restart. When Cloud enters, attach up to 1 target equipment you control to it. Whenever Cloud attacks, draw a card for each equipped attacking creature you control. Then if Cloud has power 7 or greater, create 2 treasure tokens. Okay, so not tap treasure tokens. So that's pretty good to know. So then we have Tifa as the backup commander. Tifa Martial Artist. Whenever 1 or more creatures you control powers 7 or greater, deal combat damage to a player. Untap all creatures you control. If it's the first combat, you get an extra combat phase. Okay. So they're both 4/4s, so we need to get 3 extra power on each of them to get both of their secondary abilities. But Cloud has some good draw power on him just as he is. Yeah, even if like, I'm guessing there's 19 total artifacts. I'm guessing probably like 4 or 5 of those are mana artifacts. So 14 equipment is pretty good. We need +3 power on each of these in order to get the ability to happen. So let's see. Let's go through the artifacts first, just because I want to see what we got in here. Trailblazer Boots, in order to give a equipped creature non-basic land walk. Okay, does he care about dealing damage though? No, it's just when you attack. Okay, but eventually we'll care about dealing damage. We have Soul Ring, of course, Skull Clamp, which gives him a little bit of power, and there's not too many tokens in here, but I could be surprised. I mean, a little bit of draw power if we do. Deals combat damage to a player. You may draw 2 cards. If you do, discard cards. Okay, so that's 3 equipment so far, none of which give him enough power so far. We'll get there probably. Lightning Greaves for that protection and the equip ability for the haste. Herd Heirloom, +2/+1. Creature has trample and haste. Okay, so Cloud gets to deal the damage and only has 6 power though, so we just need 1 extra. Ooh, Hero's Blade. Legendary creature you control enters, you may attach his equipment to it. Okay. Cool. So we get him just up to the 7 for his secondary ability. That's good. We have Colossus Hammer, +10/+10, loses flying. That's really useful, because that'll definitely give him a +7 power, especially if we have... Yep, right there actually. My eyes are scrolling. I saw Pure Steel Paladin, or to get this equipped to him. Arcane Signet, ooh, that's a cool art for that. Add 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity, so basically any mana that we need. Equip creatures +2/+2, trample and lifelink. Okay, a little bit of life gain there. Still not enough power to get to 7. I don't know, it must feel like they meant to make him a 5/5 with like what we're seeing so far. Sword of the Animus. Well, sorry, my mouse keeps going out of whack. Equip creature gets +1/+1. Equip creature attacks, you may search your library for a basic land card. Yep, Sword of the Animus. +1/+1, so still not up to the 7, but if we get it with one of the Behemoth Sledge or the, what was the other one? Hero's Heirloom, that could work out together. Inspiring Sanctuary, non-artifact spells you control have Improvise. Okay, so a little bit of mana fixing there. I guess we don't really care about tapping our artifacts because they don't worry about like tapping when they equip something. Even if they're tapped, they can still equip. Ooh, Darksteel Plate. Whenever, sorry, no, indestructible. Equip creature also is indestructible, so we don't care about the Vandal Blast. Ooh, I wonder if they gave another deck Vandal Blast in this set. That'd be pretty funny. Equip creature gets +1/+1 for each color among permanents you control. Okay, so Cloud's on the board. It's +3/+3 just off of his own color identity. As long as this equipment is attached to a creature, your opponent can't cast spells during your turn. Okay, so it stops them from countering our stuff too. Champion's Helm, equipped creature goes +2/+2. Yep, there we go, +2 again. As long as the equipped creature is legendary, it has hexproof, which, you know, Cloud will be. Where were we? Wrecking Ball Alarm. Hey, equipped creature's base power and toughness 7/7. There we go, that's 7 power and toughness. Can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or less. Ooh, and that's Garrett on the art. A Confirmer Shuriken. Equipped creature has whenever this creature attacks, tap the top creature defending player controls. If that creature has power greater than... Wait. If that creature has greater power than this creature's... Okay. Put a number of +1/+1 counters on this creature equal to the difference. Okay, so if our opponent has a 7/7 they could block with, we could get our creature up to 7, I guess. And then Summoning Materia. You may look at the top card of your library at any time. As long as this equipment is attached to a creature, you may cast creature spells from the top of your library. Okay, would be nice if we could cast our artifacts too. Equipped creature has +2/+2 and has vigilance and tap add mana. Okay, so we could swing in, still tap for the mana. Only +2/+2 again though. So let's see. If we had him at 5 power, we'd have 1. So let's just do how many get him up to 7 first. So 1, potentially 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Is it just 5? Yeah, there's only 5 artifacts that'll actually get him up to 7 power. I'm assuming there's going to be other stuff in here, though. But if we had up to... I mean, you're also never going to be equipping, like, 1 to him. But that's the thing, is that he cares about equipping it to multiple creatures for that draw power ability. And then you also get... if he had 5 power, you'd have those 5 plus 1, 2, 3, 4 more. So you'd have 9. I don't know, I feel like they made to make him a 5/5. Anyway, let's get into the other cards that are in here. Let's get into creatures. Let's start with Sid, Free Flyer Pilot. Equipment and vehicle spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. Okay, it's good for our equipments. Return target equipment or vehicle card from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, so that'll help out when we get our stuff Vandal Blast by opponent stuff. During your turn, this creature is flying. Okay. Does he have to deal damage or anything? Nope. Just good mana fixing there. Enters return target non-assassin historic card from your graveyard to your hand. Okay. So we get any of our creatures back, essentially, because I'm guessing we don't really have too many assassins other than herself. She almost feels like she'd be better than the last one. Whenever historic spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Elena. Okay. So you get any of your artifacts back, or one of your Tifa back, potentially. High Dagger, Shinra Executive. At the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature you control gets +X+0. There we go. Where X is the number of soldiers you control. Okay, so let's keep track of the number of soldiers. So we have, nope, monk, 2. Okay, so it'd be at least 2. And then at the beginning of your end step, create a 1/1 white soldier creature token equal to the number of opponents who control more creatures than you. Okay, so a little bit of token synergy. Yeah, that'll work out with Skull Clamp, I guess. But we don't really want that many creature token synergies in here, because then that ability won't work. Hella Trooper, whenever this creature attacks, another target attacking creature gains flying until end of turn. Equip abilities you activate that target this creature. It costs 2 less to cast. Okay. It's just this creature is the only thing. So it's not that great. Avalanche is Sector 7, Menace. This creature's power is equal to the number of artifacts your opponents control. Okay, so it's opponents total. So say if our opponents each have like a soul ring and then like some type of signet, that's at least 6 power there. And you have to assume someone will have one more. And then whenever an opponent activates an ability of an artifact they control, it deals 1 damage to that player. Okay, a little bit of burn power is nice. It'll make sure that our opponent has to think about using their soul ring. Not really, because they're going to use their soul ring either way, but a little bit of burn damage in that case. Kate Sith, Fortune Teller. At the beginning of combat on your turn, scry 1. Exile the top card of your library. You may play that card this turn. When you exile a card this way, target creature you control gets +X+0, where X is this card's mana value. Wait, X is that card's mana value. Target creature. Okay, so it's not just this creature. I was going to say, it's just like, it seems like it would work well if you could target Cloud, but you can. So that does work out pretty well. So we have some good cards out helping get more power. And this could also get up to 7 power for Tifa's ability, which could come in handy. Vincent, Vengeful Toner. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on Vincent. So I think that happens for each person that we deal combat damage to. So that could be up to a 6/6 right away. So that he'd be useful if he had 1 more power with that for Tifa's ability. And then maybe he has another ability. Whenever Vincent deals combat damage to a player, it deals that much damage to each opponent if Vincent's power is 7 or greater. Okay, so if we get his first ability off the turn he comes out, and then we get equipment onto him, that could be really useful for a lot of damage, especially because he has Menace too. I like that card. I'll build a deck on that one. Yuffie, Materia Hunter, Ninjutsu for 1 and a red. Whenever this creature enters, gain control of target non-creature artifact for as long as you control this card. Then you may attach an equipment you control to Yuffie. Enters. Okay, I was going to say, why would it matter if we deal combat damage and then get the equipment? But it's okay. It's opposite of what I thought it was. Wise Elder, at the beginning of upkeep, if you control a creature with power 7 or greater, draw a card. Okay. It's useful. I mean, yeah, I guess you get to add 1 mana of any color either way. So, yeah, a little bit of draw power, a little bit of mana fixing. Activate abilities. Okay, 2 less to activate. Whenever 1 or more creatures you control become target of an activated ability, draw a card. Once each turn. Okay, so our first equipment each turn costs less, and we get to draw a card off that. I like that. Yeah, comes in handy. Not too many useful, equipments in green is the only thing. So, like, in terms of, like, putting him into other equipment decks, not going to be that useful. Aerith, Last Ancient. Lifelink. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained life this turn, return target creature from your graveyard to your hand. If you gain 7 or more life this turn, return that card to the battlefield instead. We don't. Okay, I guess if you do the life link, you get some life gain. Wasn't there? What was that? Yeah, Behemoth Sludge also gives you life link. So you have a couple ways to gain life, I guess. Not really many. I mean, how many things do you have for Dream Mana in here? 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, I guess you also get your artifacts back. Okay, so that's pretty good. But I don't know if it's like the best in this deck, but pretty okay. Good for the flavor, though, definitely. Barret, Avalanche Leader. Whenever an equipment you control enters, create a 2/2 Red Rebel creature token. Okay. And then at the beginning of your end step, attach up to one target equipment you control to target rebel. At the beginning of combat. I don't know why I said end step. Okay, that'd be useful. And then you draw power off Cloud with that without having to pay for the mana ability of the equip cost. Red 13, Proud Warrior, Vigilance, Trample. Other modified creatures you control have Vigilance and Trample. Helps us get our combat damage through. Whenever this creature enters, return target or equipment from your graveyard to your hand. It's assuming we're going to get a lot of our stuff destroyed in this deck, which is something I'm a little bit confused by. Like, there's a whole bunch of ways to get stuff back from our graveyard, but, like, I don't know. I don't think we have that much of a worry about getting our artifacts destroyed as I might think we do. Sephiroth Fallen Hero. Whenever Sephiroth attacks, you may put a cell counter on target creature until end of turn. Each modified creature you control has base power and toughness 7/5. What's a cell counter do? Is it just maybe it's just a new counter just to make something a modified creature? Okay, but that's really useful in this deck. That could be really useful in a lot of decks. I like this card. Sacrifice a modified creature. Return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Okay, so he's hard to get rid of, too. Ooh. I like that. Mana creatures you control +2/+2 and indestructible. Oh, so there we go. We get Cloud up to 6, and we just need the, what was it? Sword of the Animus to equip to it, and we get 7 power already. Nice. Pure Steel Paladin, get around our equip cost, and draw power while we're on top of that. Really useful. Hellkite Tyrant, get our opponent's artifacts onto our battlefield, and a potential win con if we control enough artifacts, which, we have 19 ourselves. We just need one more out of our opponent if we get all of our artifacts onto the battlefield. Only thing is that doesn't synergize well with, what was it, Avalanche of Sector 7. Still a good card. Professional Facebreaker, get a treasure token, sacrifice a treasure, exile, basically a little bit of draw power. Armory Automaton, whenever this creature enters or attacks, you may attach any number of equipment cards to it. I mean, that's a good way to get a 7 power creature if you have enough equipments on the battlefield. Zac Fair enters with a +1/+1 counter on it. Okay, so the answer is 1/2. Sacrifice this creature, target creature you control gains indestructible to end the turn, and put his counters onto that creature. Oh, and the equipments that were attached to him onto that creature. Okay. That's fun, because then we get... Okay, that gets Cloud up to the 5/5. Barrett Wallace. Reach, whenever this creature attacks, it deals damage equal to the number of equipped creatures you control to the defending player. Okay, I mean... Oh, wait, did I miss a card? I missed a card. Yeah. Sorry. This creature deals 3 damage each of up to 2 target creatures. Okay, a little bit of removal. Up to 3 target creatures can't block this turn. Allows us to get our damage through. And discard a card. Draw 2. When you discard a card this way, this creature deals damage equal to this card's mana value to each opponent. Okay. A little bit of burn power, a little bit of damage just on the board with that one. Is he 7 power? Yep, 7 power with Trample and Haste on top of that. Okay, that's really useful with Tifa's ability. Okay, a little bit of burn damage. There's more burn damage in this one than in the last one, I'm pretty sure. Cloud's Limit Break. Ooh, flavorful. Destroy target tapped creature. Destroy any number of target tapped creatures different people control, and then destroy all tapped creatures. Okay, so I guess we really care about our opponent's stuff being tapped. Maybe there's no way to tap our opponent's stuff though, so that's a little bit unfortunate. But if they attack in, we get to destroy them essentially. Ultimate Magic Holy. Permanents you control gain indestructible, good protection. The spell was cast from exile, prevent all damage that would be dealt to you this turn. Okay, a fog. Oh, and a foretell to be able to cast from exile. Okay, that's okay. Lightstream's Blessing, bit of draw power on that. Oh, sorry, draw X cards where X is the greatest power among creatures you controlled as you cast the spell. Okay, so it doesn't care if our stuff gets removed. If this spell was cast from exile, you gain twice X life. Okay, some benefit off the foretell ability. A little bit of a less costing cast with the foretell ability too. Clever Concealment. Oh, that's flavorful. I like that. Any number of target non-land permanents you control phase out. Nice. Cast War for removal. Dispatch Oh, we do have a way to tap our opponent's creatures with Dispatch. Or just exile a creature if you have the artifacts on the board. Sorry. My eyes are going on me. Soldier, military program. At the beginning of combat on your turn, choose one. If you control a commander, you may choose both instead. Okay. Create a soldier token. Okay. And put a +1/+1 counter on each of up to 2 soldiers you control. Okay, so it gets Cloud up to that 5 power. Okay. Furious Rise. At the beginning of your end step, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, exile the top card of your library. You may play that card until you exile another card with this enchantment. Beginning of your end step, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, exile. Okay, so you could cast until your next end step, essentially. Unless you have 2 beginning of end steps, or you just don't have the power 4 or greater creature. Ultimate Magic Meteor. Ultimate Magic Meteor deals 7 damage to each creature. Basically board wipe. A little bit worse version of, what's it called? Blasphemous Act. The spell was cast from exile. For each opponent, choose an artifact or land that player controls. Destroy the chosen permanent. I don't think that really come in handy too often. Austere Command for a board wiped. Unfinished Business. Turn target creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. Then return up to 2 target or equipments. Attach it to the creature. Okay, that's pretty useful in equipment tech. I don't know if the most useful, but it could come in handy. Vanquish a Horde, destroy all creatures, good board wipe. Decimate, destroy artifact, creature, enchantment, land, useful for a little bit of removal. Secret Rendezvous, okay. If you want your opponent to draw 3 cards, there could be someone else that's behind like you. Oh, they put Vandal Blast in here? Destroy target artifact you don't control. Okay, it does destroy target artifact, and then it does going to destroy all target artifacts. I read it wrong for a sec. I was thinking it was different for a second. Cultivate, Harmonize, Cultivate, Nature's Learn, Rampant Growth are all ramp spells, and Harmonize for a little bit of draw power on top of that. They have a lot of draw power. I think you're going to need it in this deck, though. I mean, we already did the artifacts. So yeah, overall, I feel like it's an okay deck. There's definitely some good cards in here. They put a Pure Steel Paladin in here, so like that's a good card just on its own. But like, I don't know. I feel like it has a lot going on. It has some tokens. It has some +1/+1 counters. It has some equipment abilities. But like with that as well, they don't really have too much synergy with them. And like, I feel like rather than put in some of those things, they